and gentlemen, Gary Moore.
Hey there, friends. Big John. Nice to see you all. Thanks for coming. I hope that you all are movie fans today. I want to tell you, our first guest today is one of Hollywood's most daring gentlemen. You've seen his work. You couldn't have missed it. We're going to show a remarkable piece of film to demonstrate his talents. However, our panel likes to go to the movies, too. So I think I'll get them out here first so that they don't miss the film. This is To Tell the Truth.
Tom Poston. Peggy Pratt. Gene Raven. And Kitty Carlisle.
We are foregathered here in a fine configuration today. As you can see, we have with us our two usual, highly unusual ladies, Kitty Carlisle and Peggy Cass. Yay! Yay! And fresh from trading at the stock market is Mr. Tom Poston.
Yay! Oh. How you doing?
Blackie Poston.
And fresh from trading at the supermarket is Mr. Gene Rayburn.
Yes!
Gene, with your own new television show and your regular radio show, I was afraid that you had forgotten us.
How could I forget you, Steve? Holy mackerel.
Thanks a lot, buddy. And Tom Poston.
Oh, Gary, I'm sorry.
Tom, I'm not even sure I recognize you. What, you dyed your hair jet black?
Oh, you know what you do with a blackhead. You squeeze it. I had to do this for Cyrano de Bergerac down in Bucks County in Pennsylvania.
Ah. Are you going to keep it that way?
God, I hope
Well,
not.
it looks so darn natural. I thought it... What? You know, I had to wear that big nose for Cyrano.
Yeah, well, you could have called me. I would have loaned you mine.
And
I wear it all the time.
the minute I put it on, my wife said, gee, how did you get all your nose in there?
Well, now that we all know who each other are, I want to show you, you've all seen The French Connection, I assume.
Yeah.
Oh, terrific.
Well, I want to tell you, you must remember the wild and woolly chase scene in that.
Yeah.
Well, we have a hunk of that film to show you right now, and take a look at it. It's a skullbuster.
Great.
Oh, I love this. Oh, my God. Oh, it's terrific.
This film was taken from the front of an ordinary New York taxi cab.
Say what you please.
All right.
Oh, God.
Let's go, Popeye.
Be safe.
There.
Safety pins.
Safe.
Oh, gosh. Woo. Oh, man. Wow.
Would you believe it was my wife driving that car?
That's a male chauvinist statement.
No, it's
Male
just a personal chauvinist statement. Now, the man who actually did all of that dangerous driving is our first guest today, and let us meet him right this minute.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Bill Hickman.
Number two.
My name is Bill Hickman.
Number three.
My name is Bill Hickman.
All three of them look possible. Two of them are imposters, of course. One is telling the truth. Here is the high-speed story of Bill Hickman. It says, I, Bill Hickman, am a Hollywood stuntman. In more than 500 films, I have performed such feats of daring do as jumping off buildings, being set on fire, and even being blown up with dynamite. However, my specialty is stunt car driving. And here I am at the wheel of a car stunting with Steve McQueen in the film Bullet. The scene was shot up and down and around the hills of San Francisco.
Whoa, boy. Ah! Somebody got hit.
Earlier in the program, we showed a part of the widely acclaimed chase from The French Connection. Although Academy Award winner Gene Hackman seems to be at the wheel, I am the driver who speeds at nearly 90 miles an hour under the elevated railway through the New York City streets. On the screen, this scene takes 10 minutes, moves like lightning. In reality, this chase scene was shot completely out of sequence, and it took over 5 weeks to complete. Signed, Bill Hickman. And I wouldn't do that for nobody. We're going to stop and have a commercial and come back and talk to these three nuts.
Come on, let's play.
Turn on Game Show Network.
Hey there, we got a real goodie going for you. We have 3 gentlemen over here all claiming to be Bill Hickman, stunt driver for movies such as Bullet, The French Connection, and The Godfather. Let's start the questioning with Racy Gene Rayburn.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Gary. Number 2, what was the actual speed that the car was going?
Well, we moved anywhere from 50 to 80 miles an hour.
Yeah. And number 3, sometimes they speed up the film to make it appear that the car is going faster. Was that done here?
Not in French Connection, no.
Yeah. Number 1, when they want to do that trick of speeding up the film, would they shoot more frames per second or fewer frames per second? Do you happen to know, number 1?
Normal speed is 24. You speed up a car, you drop it down to 18 frames, 20.
Thank you. Number 2, what street was that under the L? Do you remember?
That was Stillman.
Stillman Street?
Yes.
Yeah. And number 3, what borough is that in?
That was in Brooklyn.
That was in Brooklyn.
Thank you, Gene. Then we go to Kitty Carlisle.
Thank you. Number 1, I saw The French Connection and Bullet. I haven't seen The Godfather, so I don't know what you do in that. But what time of the day did you shoot the film mostly?
On what film?
On the French Connection, the one we saw just now.
Oh, it varies. We'd start from 8 o'clock in the morning, possibly until 4:30.
Oh, during traffic time?
Yes.
Number 2, where was the camera?
The camera was mounted on the front of the car.
Uh-huh. And number 3, who was operating the camera?
It was remote control.
I see. Number 2, in Bullet, were you driving the same kind of a car that you drove in The French Connection?
No, the French Connection was a Pontiac, and in Bullet was a Dodge Charger.
Thank you. Number 1, is there anything done to a car that you drive for stunt purposes that's different from an ordinary car you'd buy at a dealer's?
No, the Pontiac I drove on the French Connection was a standard Le Mans.
Ordinary. Number 3, how did you get the...
And that buzzer takes us on down to Tom Poston, please.
I was just writing down here for my own notes. Have you ever had an accident? I wonder, number 1, have you ever had any more than just casual accidents that anybody might have?
In regards to my stunt work, you mean?
No, in regards to your own driving.
Oh, yes.
Oh. He just keeps the camera going all the time and drives funny. Number 2, are you strapped in for any of those sequences?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Always a safety belt.
Thoroughly, right? Only a safety belt?
Only
No,
a safety
no
belt.
webbing or anything?
No.
Number 3, how do you make a deliberate blowout? I've seen a film of cars that fake. I mean, they have a blowout, but how do they arrange that?
With a charge.
Where's that done?
It's done on the inside of the wheel, away from the camera, so it'll blow outward.
Oh, who triggers that, number 3?
The driver.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Number 1, if you did...
And Peggy Cass gets last
Number
shot.
1, did you work in The Godfather?
Yes.
What did you do in that?
Spun a 1940 Buick on the 59th Street Bridge at close to 55 miles an hour.
Thank you. Number 3, was that the bridge you spun it on?
Yes.
That was, okay. And number 2, what elevated railway was that? Did the city rent you an elevated railway?
Which one?
In the French Connection?
Rent it?
Yeah. I mean, how did you get the elevated railways car?
Oh, no, the MTA cooperated with us.
Oh, they did. Number 3, didn't you scare the holy cats out of the other poor people that were driving that day?
They were all part of the show.
Well, how did you get Stillman Avenue cleared of regular people?
The help of the police department.
Gee, New York does cooperate with the movies, doesn't it? Number 1, have you ever been really hurt in doing your stunts?
Several times.
How bad?
5 times in 36 years, though.
Oh. Number 2, you insured?
And there goes the bell that cuts off the question. We'd like to ask a lot more because there's a lot to know. However, we must now make up our minds. We mark our ballots. We mark them for number 1, or for number 2, or for number 3. The rules haven't changed. We still pay $50 for each wrong guess, $500 if all of the guesses are wrong, and Gene Rayburn starts.
Well, Gary, number 3 said Stillman Street was in Brooklyn, and I thought it was in the Bronx. I may be wrong about that. Number 1 gave me the correct answer on the frames per second to shoot if you want to speed up the action on the film, so therefore I voted for him.
All righty, we got a 1 showing. Kitty Carlisle?
Well, number 1's wearing glasses. I don't think a stunt driver should wear glasses. Might impair his whatever it is. Number 3, I think, is a New York cop. I think he's one of the ones that cooperated with him. But I voted for number 1 anyway.
After all of those reasons for not voting for number 1, she voted for number 1. That figures. Tom?
I voted for number 2, Gary, because I thought it was number 1, and I thought if I voted for him, he'd run over me with something. I'd better vote for another guy.
And Peggy, how you going to go?
They all said it was except for number 2, said it was the 59th Street Bridge and the Godfather. But I remember they were taking that kid to New Jersey. That's the George Washington Bridge. But he sounds like a Californian, so I voted for number 1.
It's almost unanimous. Tom is out there all by himself. We'll find out about it. The votes are all in. Will the real Bill Hickman please stand up? Yahoo! Thank you, Bill. Be back to you in half a second. Number 2, what is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name's William Miller, and I'm a sculptor.
Hi there. And number 3, tell us about yourself.
My name is Ralph Schreitenthal. I'm a contract engineer for Westinghouse International.
Good to have you here. Bill, somebody asked a question, I think it was Peggy. Is it possible for you to get insurance?
Oh, yes.
Do you have to pay a tremendous premium for it?
No, it's very reasonable. In fact, I carry double indemnity on or off the job.
Uh-huh.
And the rates are very reasonable.
Well, I want to tell you that some of the greatest film I've ever seen in my whole life. And thank you, Bill, and thank you, gentlemen, also, for being with us on To Tell the Truth.